Los Angeles just used taxpayer funds to build a homeless high-rise, a luxury apartment complex that costs the same as a five-star hotel. Coming up, we have all the details on the waste, the epic waste of your tax dollars. Plus, it's about to get worse. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and there's no doubt California has a homelessness crisis, and the worst in the nation, by the way. And it's all because California liberal politicians refuse to implement proven solutions to homelessness. Nope. Instead, they've decided to throw good money after bad using your taxpayer money, wasting your taxpayer money on multi-billion-dollar giveaway programs that are having no impact on addressing the root causes of homelessness. The latest example of epic waste is what I'm calling the homelessness high rise, a project built in Los Angeles that costs basically the same amount as a luxury five-star hotel on a per square foot basis. More on that in a minute. This absurd boondoggle in Los Angeles. But I want to really quickly review why we have a homeless crisis in California. It's not because of the job market. It's not because of the price of housing. None of those correlate with California's homelessness crisis, because nationwide, we've had a healthy job market. Nationwide, housing prices have gone up. But nationwide, we've seen a dramatic decrease in homelessness. Since 2010, homelessness is down nationwide by about 26%. California represents a outlier. That's because we don't use the same programs as other states for dealing with homelessness. In other states, what they do is they focus on the root cause of chronic homelessness. 80% of chronically homeless people are drug addicts. They are abusing alcohol. They've got mental illness. So substance abuse and mental health, that is the reason why someone is homeless, not the price of housing. If you gave them $500 and secured a $500 a month apartment, that $500 you give them won't go to pay the rent. It'll go in their veins, down their throat, up their nose. They will not use any of the resources we give them for housing because their choice first is to feed their addiction, or they're so mentally deranged that they just can't really govern their affairs in the condition that they're in. No, what has to happen is tough love. We have to use the stick of law enforcement. We have to have rules to force people into the treatment programs to break the cycle of dependency. But California does not promote that. In fact, California prohibits that. If you are a homeless provider in California and want to get state government money, you have to agree not to force people into substance abuse or mental health programs. You have to agree not to have program rules for clean, sane, and sober living. It's called Housing First, and it's an epic disaster, a failure. That's why California represents only 12% of the nation's population, but we have more than 50% of homeless people in this country. We've become the capital of crime and grime because we coddle the homeless. Since 2018, your state's liberal politicians have thrown more than $24 billion of taxpayer money, your taxpayer money, at homeless programs, only to see the problem get much, much worse. Who's getting the money? Yes. It's not just good old-fashioned waste. This is corruption. They're giving it to permanent supportive housing developers, government subsidized housing developers who are taking millions and millions of dollars in profits. And then, of course, kicking back some of the money to the politicians in the form of campaign contributions. We have followed the money. This is a scam. It is an epic scam. Politicians are using homelessness as the window dressing, and they're approving all these boondoggle projects, showing that they're building units at $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, or even $1 million per unit. In California, they're no longer putting money into shelter beds for homeless people. No. We don't need more shelter beds, bunk beds. That's inhumane to expect someone to have a bunk bed. No, no, no. They've got this scam called permanent supportive housing, and it sounds exactly like what it is. Permanent. You, the taxpayer, would pay for the cost of building a condo unit for a homeless person, and you just simply give the key to the homeless person and expect no changes in their life. You just will permanently support them in the housing unit. That's right. It's called socialism. This is socialized housing. And this has been always part of their scam, is they believe that government ought to guarantee a housing unit, even if it's $1 million a pop, to everyone. I think you should put these homeless people into a shelter in a bunk bed. If it's good enough for our military members, it should be good enough for a hobo, but require as an exchange for having a clean place to sleep, a warm, safe place to sleep every night, 3 meals a day, require clean, sane, and sober living and participation and completion of treatment programs. Let's get to the root cause of the problem. We don't want to throw good money after bad. But housing first, permanent supportive housing, has led to billions of dollars of boondoggle housing projects at a massive cost per unit. And basically, they're considering these units to be permanent. That leads me to the boondoggle in Los Angeles. It's called the Wiart Center. It just opened recently. It's a major high-rise. There's the picture of the high-rise, 32 stories high. And it's funded with your taxpayer money. The project has 302 units, and it cost about $600,000 per unit to build, which, by the way, by Housing First standards, that is an efficient, steal. I think that you should be able to build for, $250,000 per unit. Frankly, if Texas can still do that in today's economy, the Biden inflation notwithstanding, we should be able to do it out here in California. But what is the cost per square foot? It is about $1,000. And so it costs about as much as a 5-star hotel to build the Wiart Tower. Here is the story from California Globe. I appreciate the fact that they crunched the numbers. $1,000 per square foot to build, which is on par with a 5-star hotel build. It is obscene. The amenities include a gym, a cafe, apartments with skyline views and balconies for homeless people. Permanent supportive housing. Now, again, the Wiart group put this boondoggle together, and still the appalling thing about the project is not just the $1,000 per pop per square foot cost. This is one of the cheaper versions of government subsidized housing. As I mentioned before, we are seeing these projects come in around $800,000 to $900,000. They just did one in Santa Monica that was $1 million per pop. And that's not like an outlier. It's quite common for $1 million per unit government subsidized housing project to come at your expense. Again, there is no expectation that anyone who gets these keys, there's no requirement that they actually become self-sufficient and move out. There's no requirement that they participate in substance abuse or mental health programs, which are the root cause of dependency and the condition of homelessness. So we're not getting to the root cause. We're throwing good money after bad. We're shelving the problem. We're not even housing the problem. Don't even say it's housing. We are shelving the problem. And this is going to be a tower filled with crime and grime, guaranteed. Because if you don't get to the root cause of these people's issues, they will continue to act out in a bad way. Well, it's not just housing that we're giving out. Now we're giving out government subsidized supermarkets for free food. Now, in California, like any other state, we already provide something called the EBT program, the food stamps program, where people who are on welfare, who qualify for welfare, which in California is very easy to qualify, you're given cash assistance for groceries so that you can continue to feed yourself and your family. We all support, these programs that are designed to give a little bit of help to people if they're really interested in changing their lives and becoming independent. I think we should have a welfare to work requirement, but that doesn't happen in California. Now we're just giving away the food for free. San Francisco now has a supermarket run by the government, funded by the government at a cost of $5 million. Free food. This is on top of the food stamp allocation that the state of California already gives people who qualify for welfare. They call it the food empowerment market. And they basically say that food stamps aren't enough and that the free food is supplemental. Now, what do you think is going to happen here? You guessed it. People on food stamps can easily say, well, since I'm already getting the food free from this other market, why don't I trade and sell or give these other food items, food benefit items away? I'm not hearing any story of people on food stamps suddenly saying, oh my God, I can't eat, I can't survive. So my question first and foremost is, why the hell are we doing a free food supermarket run by the government? My second question is, why are we requiring that they go through the checkout? It says that the market resembles a grocery store, and shoppers take carts through aisles to grab goods they need. Everything is then weighed and scanned at the checkout to track inventory. A few months ago, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that the reason why smash and grabs were happening all around the country, mainly here in California or in other blue cities, was because people don't have money for food. What do you want to bet that even giving out free food with this market, that it doesn't reduce the number of smash and grabs in San Francisco? Even more humorously, I wonder what the smash and grabbers are going to do. I mean, they're going to show up at this market and say, well, wait a minute. So taking these things without paying for them is like, okay. Wow, I'm confused. What's going on? Again, I'm mocking this because instead of focusing on getting people to work and getting people off of welfare, creating jobs rather than destroying jobs, making things more affordable rather than increasing taxes and imposing costly regulations and mandates, what are the politicians up there doing? They're bringing more socialism into the equation, more giveaways. I don't know about you, but I want a society where able-bodied people pay for their own housing, pay for their own food. I think that ought to be the goal. And there is absolutely no case to be made that we don't already provide the food stamp program that provides enough support for people to get the nutrition they need to survive. We should not be making it easier to get welfare. We should not be throwing more money at the problem. What we should be doing is asking the tough questions. Now that we've given you this assistance, what is your plan to get off of welfare and into a job? Instead, we're breeding this system that has an expectation of takers at your expense. Why work anymore when everything's free? You're able to get a free government supportive, permanent supportive housing unit in Los Angeles with a gym and a cafe, balconies and big skyline views. And you're able just to show up and take whatever food you want from a government-run grocery store. Insane. At Reform California, we invite you to fight the insanity. You can do that by signing up. We send out a voter guide in each election. It's called the Reform California Plain English Voter Guide. And it provides you with the description of all the ballot measures so that you understand what you're voting on. It tells you which measures are increasing taxes. And it also endorses candidates for school board, water board, all the way up to the legislative races. Sign up to get the voter guide. It's free. First name, last name, email, phone, zip code, and we will send it to you when your ballot hits. Also, please chip in a contribution. We cannot power this fight to take back our state from far left insanity without your help. You can't stay on the sidelines. This campaign requires your financial support, even $5. Pitch in so that we can support candidates and support good ballot measures and oppose bad ballot measures to make a difference in California. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.